everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the Walking Dead Dead City video. So I wanted to break down the behind the scenes look that we got the other day and actually talk about a lot of very specific storylines here that I think that they are going to be getting into this season. This week, things are going to really start to pick up because this is like the first week of April here, right? Coming up. And so the show is premiering exactly in 28 days right now. So that's exciting. 28 days until the show is here. That's literally 4 Sundays from now. And yeah, The Walking Dead is back. So expect a lot of stuff coming out this month. So make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But let's get into the behind the scenes teaser here. So I did do a video the other day actually talking about, I think that was yesterday, I did a video talking about the announcement that I think is going to be happening at the end of the month here because TWU Filming on Twitter or X posted that it seems like The Walking Dead Dead City will be filming 2 seasons this summer back to back. So that would mean that obviously a season 3 and a season 4 of The Walking Dead Dead City, and that could be the end, but nothing official. So I don't know what the announcement's going to be at the end of the month here in terms of like, yes, we're going to be doing 2 seasons this summer, and then that's it. Or if they're going to say, yes, we're doing 2 seasons this summer, and then that will be the end of The Walking Dead Dead City, right? It really depends on how they sort of word all of that. Like they could make that announcement, which would be really incredible, but we'll have to wait and see on that aspect to it, right? But I still think getting 2 more seasons of the show is just perfect, and they're filming it back to back, and so I imagine the season 2 finale here is going to end on some cliffhanger that really sets up season 3, and the fact that it's going to be back to back. Like, we're getting an overall story here of what's happening in Manhattan with power going on in New York City and everything, and I like the fact that this is going to be an actual like really incredible arc here where we could see like returning characters in season 3 like Dwight. Rick could actually return. There's been a lot of talk about like Rick's return in another spinoff or something like that. I could see him showing up in Dead City, maybe season 3 or season 4. If that does happen, that would mean that Andrew Lincoln would be filming something at some point like this summer for Dead City, right? Because they would be filming back to back. So yeah, really exciting stuff there. Getting into this behind the scenes look though, I mean, I think these things here are honestly one of the best things in terms of like actually seeing what's happening with the show, because you can actually see a lot of like specific things with the storyline. They actually revealed here that Lucille is going to be in season 2, because I know that was talked about before. There were a lot of rumors that sort of came out that, yeah, Lucille's likely going to be in season 2 of The Walking Dead Dead City. Obviously just rumors, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but actually seeing, the confirmation here in the behind the scenes look of Lucille being there with Negan is really exciting. And I think that, obviously it is going to be a hallucination scene. There's going to be something here in terms of, what he's going through, how he's processing, having Lucille again, like the bat, and how he really deals with that overall, because it's the first time since season 8 that he has the bat back, right? Like he's had it obviously in the season 10 finale, like with the bonus episodes, right? Like in Here's Negan, he actually had the bat and everything. And so that bat was basically there since the season 8 finale. And so it's really technically been since the season 8 finale, which was years ago. Like I think on Dead City's timeline, that was 10 to 15 years ago. It was a very, very long time ago. So he has not had that bat in a very long time now. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what they do here. And what's exciting about it is the fact that if Dead City is actually getting 2 more seasons, he could actually have the bat for like the next 2 seasons as well. And like, you got to wonder where the story is ending. Is Negan going to die by the end? Like, what's happening with all the characters? Lucille being here, I think, is perfect for, a returning character. There might be other characters returning as well, like who knows? But I think in terms of Lucille returning, that's exactly like what the show needs right now. Like that is really like, honestly, a lot of people might not have watched the bonus episode for The Walking Dead. So to actually have Lucille here, like that's going to be really cool for his story. You see a lot of cool shots of Maggie and Hershel and a few others, and it looks like they're traveling to New York City. We don't necessarily know the reason why they have to leave the bricks, but it does look like New Babylon actually goes there, and they might honestly force Maggie to go to New York because like she's there, and I think that for the most part, the community is fine. But they literally might be like, yeah, you have to go because of this or that. And so Maggie might just be forced to go. And so maybe some people go with her, right? So obviously Hershel's going to go with her. There's probably a few other people from the bricks as well that are going to go with her. And they'll make their way all the way to New York City. And I think that a lot of this is most likely going to be episode 1, maybe also episode 2 a little bit. But I think that for the most part, episode 1 is going to be about their journey to New York City. I think they'll get there by the end of that first episode. And then we'll see a lot of stuff with Negan and his rise to becoming his old self. I think at the end of the episode, he will get Lucille back. And we'll see that whole, like ceremony that happens at the very ending there. He'll most likely Lucille somebody there, and I think everyone will be super happy. The Daimon will be very happy, and I think that is most likely how the episode ends. Honestly, it could even go back to like where the power goes on, and then they all go outside, and then that's where Maggie and Negan see each other outside. Bruegel actually reacts to everything, and yeah, I think that first episode could honestly be a very great episode, and it's really cool, actually. I will say all the shots of Maggie and Hershel traveling to New York City outside really, really reminds me of season 11 of The Walking Dead. Like, the visuals just look super similar, and it's something that we just don't see a lot, right? Like, so far with the spinoffs, like, you can't really say that with The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, because it's not like they're in the woods a lot, right? Like, it's just a very different environment, right? In France, and now they're going to Spain. The ones who live had like that one episode 5, where it seemed very similar, like they're just walking in the woods. But this here really is that. Like, there's a lot of shots here where it just reminds me entirely of season 11. Like, this was something that we would have saw from season 11 or even season 10 with the Whisperers and stuff. So yeah, really cool to see in terms of the visuals and everything, and just like connecting all of that. The one thing here with Maggie and Hershel that I think is going to be really cool is Maggie is, she's able to talk to Hershel now because Hershel is getting a lot older. And I think, her saying that, like, when I look at you, I see him, like Negan. That's a really, honestly, hurtful thing for Hershel to hear. And I think that that's something that is going to be very frustrating for him as well. And I think that's what's really exciting about the fact that this show could get 2 more seasons, is that we're actually going to be able to flesh out this storyline, and that this is probably going to be the main storyline of all of that. Like, the whole Maggie versus Negan and Glenn's death thing and everything, like, all of that is going to be played out here and probably resolved by the end of this show. Like, we're going to see all of them going through all this stuff here. I think that Maggie and Negan are in a better place overall, and I think that Hershel, though, might not be, because I think he might want revenge for his father's death because he never got to meet his father. So I think it's going to be really cool to see where this goes, and Hershel's growing anger for the fact that, his father is gone, and because of how much, like, the person who killed his father is still affecting his life because of his mom and everything, right? So, I mean, I don't know where this goes here, but like Hershel killing Negan at some point, maybe in the finale of The Walking Dead Dead City, like the very last season, is very possible. Like, that's something that can totally happen, especially if Rick is involved in some way in that last season, where you can have him reunite with the characters a little bit, and there's a part of a story there that's actually worked out. Now, there is a lot of scenes of Negan actually getting the bat, and so we actually see that the Croat has the bat here and then throws it to Negan during this whole, like, meeting here of all the communities, and so very cool to see that. And I like the fact that, like, seeing Negan actually smile about a few things here, like, he's actually very, like, happy with how things are going. He's able to just, like, turn into that charismatic person and be his old self, like, very easily. It's cool to see, and I think that that's honestly going to be a really entertaining part of the season, because we saw a little bit of it in season 1, and that was probably one of the best scenes of the season. It's just very cool to see, honestly, especially having the actual leather jacket as well. Like, that is something that I think for the character, it works really well, and I don't view it as like, oh, you're trying to be nostalgic for the sake of, the character and everything. Like, it makes so much sense because of where the story is at right now, with the Croat trying to literally, bring him back to who he used to be. And, like, that person used to be able to lead very well and could definitely help us in this situation. The Croat is literally that character, right? Like, I think if Negan out of nowhere just, like, found a jacket and then tried to make Lucille again, yeah, maybe I would have some criticisms there, because that just doesn't make a lot of sense for who the character is. But he's trapped in this situation, and now, you have somebody here that is like, here's the jacket, here's the bat, like, this is going to be something that will actually work here. And Negan, again, we don't know what his first reaction is going to be to actually getting the bat and actually having the jacket for the first time, right? We see him, like, not being the most comfortable with it, and then sometimes, being totally happy and, like, totally fine with it. But we'll have to wait and see what that first scene is actually going to be like, because I don't think we've actually seen it yet. And so when that actually does happen, that will be a really big moment. And yeah, just to get those alone time scenes with Negan reacting to the fact that this is just sort of who he has to become now, and is he okay with that? There is something big happening in Central Park, and I'm really curious on this storyline, because we see this map and the Croat here has everything marked. And so these buildings here I imagine those are areas that they own or that they have people around those areas. I don't know what the plan's going to be or what's so valuable here, but something big is happening in Central Park, and it's going to be a big part of, I guess whatever the story is building up to, because I know that in terms of filming anyways, I believe that this was filmed later on in the season, so something is going down here, and I imagine it's related to like Bruegel and everything. And speaking of Bruegel, actually, we do see him in the audience, which is very interesting. So he's there, he's listening to Negan actually give this speech and everything like that. And I'm really interested in terms of what his role is going to be this season, because obviously we know he's the villain, all of that, but like he's just sitting here, right? And he's dressed differently from everybody else, but like he's just sitting there, and it feels like there's no importance on the character here, at least based off of this scene here. Like he's just sitting there listening. And I think that, however Negan is acting, just whatever he's doing there, like he might actually find it entertaining. He's probably like, oh, I like this guy or whatever, right? And so maybe wants him to join him, or I'm not sure how that would work overall, but it seems like he really does like Negan here. So I'm curious as to how he becomes the villain. Like it's probably going to be some disagreements with, resources and what we should do with certain things. When New Babylon gets involved as well, I think that's going to be a big issue, because Maggie is kind of on New Babylon's side right now, but I don't think that's going to last forever. So, yeah, I'll have to wait and see where that goes overall. Honestly, it seems like New Babylon, if anything, are like the villains, I would say, of this season. Like, I think Bruegel will be a villain, and then I think New Babylon is also going to be a villain as well. With Maggie and Negan, I guess the heroes overall, but they're probably going to be on like both sides, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. And there was also a really interesting shot here of something that we saw last season, where Hershel had a bunch of drawings of the Dama and everything, and just, I guess experiences that he had when he was in New York. And so we see the Dama here, but then we see something more, and it goes to the next shot here where we do see almost like a skyline of New York City, right? Like it's just like this visual, I guess, of what Hershel most likely saw. And so he sees literally what we're seeing here of New York City. And so this tells me, honestly, in terms of what their vision is overall in getting power back to New York City, that's probably a big part to it. Like I think that Hershel probably learned a lot of what the Dama's plan is, and most likely is going to say a lot of that. Honestly, he might know some stuff that Maggie and everyone else doesn't know, that he might just keep a secret for a while. It was very cool to see Lauren Cohan directing, actually. I think that she directed episode 6. That's going to be a really cool episode to see, because I know that a lot of stuff happens. Like she actually mentioned in terms of like the visual effects and everything, like that's going to be a really, really big episode for that. It's the biggest one of the season. So, and then we have this shot here of Negan crying outside, and I'm guessing it has to be a death. Like, I don't know what else it could be. Like the bat broke. Like, no, that's not going to be a thing. I don't think the bat's going to break at all this season. So is it related to Maggie or Hershel? I think they're surviving. I am worried about Ginny dying, because I think that, like, she should be a character that does survive. I feel like she could honestly be a really big character in this series, but maybe something happens here, and that's what we're seeing here. Honestly, he could just be like really in an emotional state, because he's always seeing Lucille everywhere, right? So depending on like the stakes of the story and where everything is at, certain things that he's forced to do or has to do, maybe he's struggling with, seeing Lucille around, like that really could explain this scene. We have more shots of the bear, and yeah, I think that's going to be a really just crazy episode. I think that honestly, out of the whole season, like if that's episode 6, maybe that's what she was talking about, like that's going to be a really, really incredible scene to see. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. I will do some more videos talking about this tomorrow and everything. I just wanted to kind of do a general breakdown, talk about some of the stuff that I saw here. But as we are getting very close to the show's premiere, I do want to start to focus less on like the marketing and less on like some of the reveals that they're doing. Like obviously I will do videos on that still, but I want to talk more about the story and everything, and obviously get into my recap for Dead City Season 2 and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, really exciting month here as we build to Dead City's premiere. So hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.